Mason here. It's time to continue our search for the next Syracuse Basketball Head Coach. With today's candidate, here's Brian.
I turned off my mic. I've turned it back on. I just gotta let the music go a little bit. Eric and Ralph's at Shoppingtown. I think that's before my time. Please, was that in the food court? Where was that? I don't know if I'm familiar with that. I think today, as we get into who's next for my lunch, is it's a staple. It's a classic in the area. I haven't been there in a minute. I think we got a little Brooklyn pickle on tap for today. I think we're gonna pickle it up. Not a sponsor, but we wouldn't complain. Or you never know. Maybe we can Thompson Road Tavern it up, because what a place that is to go for lunch. Yeah, I'll tell you, fella, for this music kind of evens the whole thing out, right? And now the music's gonna go away, and we're gonna show you who's next today. And it is the music's not going away. I had a little. Oh, it came back. Just when you think it's fading out, it gets back into it. There it goes. All right. Now we're going to show you a name that you have been clamoring for us to talk about here in Who's Next, and our candidate to be the next Syracuse men's basketball head coach today is this guy, and his name is Josh Schertz, the current head coach of the 23-1. Is that what they are? St. Louis Billikens. They're good. He's the head coach of SLU, and they're doing really well. So that's where, are they 23-1? 23-1, fresh off a 24-point win last time out over the weekend against LaSalle. They head to Loyola Chicago, R.I.P. Sister Jean, for a game tomorrow night. Absolutely cruising. Their only loss so far this year is by one to Stanford in a Thanksgiving tournament out in California. So we talk about Josh Schertz today. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I blame Mason and Red and John Wildhack and everybody but Josh Schertz. So here's this guy's deal. Here is the deal of Josh Schertz. You want somebody that is technically local-ish. He's 50 years old, born the day after the 4th of July back in 75 in where? Brooklyn, New York. Okay, so technically he is a New York native, so we like that. Where has his coaching career taken him? He's been at lower levels. He was at something called Lynn. That's not a person, that's a place. He was at Queens, not the one in New York City. This one's in North Carolina. He was at High Point, an actual D1 team in North Carolina for a while. His first head coaching job came at Lincoln Memorial. The Rail Splitters are somewhere in a place called Harrogate, Tennessee. You all know it. They're D2. He was there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years. And put up a 337 and 69 record. That's an 83% winning percentage. He made the tournament in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of his last 10 years there. His last year was his third Division II Final Four. He was the runner-up once, did not win the Natty, but came close at Lincoln Memorial out of Tennessee. Then in 2021, he got the job at Indiana State, the Sycamores, the alma mater of one Larry Bird. So he did that, and this is where he would have first gotten on any of our radars. And this would have happened in his last year at Indiana State. So first year took over, they were terrible. They're 11-20. Second year, they go 23-13, and he made a run to the quarterfinals of the CBI. The last year is the year we got to know Indiana State. We got to know Josh Schertz, and we got to know them because, A, they went 32-7, though they actually lost in their conference tournament, were not selected somewhat controversially to the NCAA tournament, ended up being runners-up in the NIT. But our entry point to them is they got really good that season beside their center, their goggled center, one Robbie Avila, a.k.a. Larry Nerd, a.k.a. Cream Abdul-Jabbar. He was white. So that is when Schirtz and all of those people came to our attention at Indiana State now a couple of years ago. So after that year, Schirtz is the hot name. And you wonder, where is he going to get a job? Is he going to make a big leap or what? So he ends up making a smaller jump, going to the A-10, taking the job at St. Louis. St. Louis has generally had decent coaches. First year, he goes 19-15 there. I believe Avila transferred with him. And then this year, they're absolutely killing it. They're 23-1. They're ranked in the top 20 right now. So, again, he becomes the hot name. And now he becomes the hot name for a jump to the top level. Be it a Syracuse, who absolutely certainly should kick the tires on a guy like this. Or, and I'd say, like, if you are Syracuse and for some reason you hone in on Josh Schertz as a guy that you're looking out for, my main worry is, he's from Brooklyn, but look at where his last couple of jobs were. He's at Indiana State, he's at St. Louis. Right now, he's been coaching and been coaching successfully in the Big Ten footprint. I don't know what jobs are going to open up in the Big Ten this year. There's rumors Ohio State might come open. You know, the Big Ten's got 80 million teams in it. Some jobs got to become available. And obviously the Big Ten has gobs and gobs and gobs of cash to deal with at the moment. And, like, I realize this was football, but it's almost like, here's a couple things that would intrigue you potentially to any Big Ten opening this season. One, what Indiana basketball school just did in football this year, winning the national championship. And two, what Nebraska football school is currently doing in basketball. The Big Ten's got money. They're not afraid to spend it. You can be successful, and it's been proven in either of those sports now at any school in that league because of just the volume of cash that's going around. So if I am a Big Ten AD that has a job opening this season, this guy, Josh Schertz, is getting a phone call due to his location, proximity, and the whole thing. Now, I have seen already multiple, like, national analyst types that are, and I don't think this is a sourced connection, this is a logic connection. They're projecting jobs that they think will be open. And here's where things get interesting with what we were just talking about, with the totally unsettled hierarchy at the university right now. And what I try to say a lot is that while a lot of us here are down currently on Syracuse basketball, because the last 5 years for sure, the last 10 years in many ways, have not been up to Syracuse standards, is that nationally, Syracuse basketball is still a big enough brand that if you are the hot name available this year and Syracuse basketball calls you, you have to listen. You have to listen because it's still Syracuse basketball, and nationally, like, that carries a lot more weight than if it's, just some random lower tier Big Ten school or whatever. Like, it means more. Like, last night, take that, SEC. Last night, there were 4,000 and change in the Dome from everything I've heard. Obviously, the weather sucked, and, everyone's down on the team right now. And for Syracuse, that's an extremely disappointing crowd. And fascinatingly enough, Brent Axe reported yesterday they're expecting upwards of 9,000 people, if not more, for the lacrosse game tomorrow night between number 1 and number 2 with Maryland and Syracuse. So, but I think what we know is this. If Syracuse basketball gets back to being good, will it be 30,000, 30,000, 30,000 ever again? In this day and age, probably not. But I think if Syracuse is good again, it's not going to be that difficult to get the Dome back into the 20s and get it rocking and the whole thing again. It's, if and when the team gets good again, I think that's going to come back to a big enough extent that things like that are still, to this day, unique about Syracuse. The Dome is unique about Syracuse. The Mello Center, and obviously there may be some Mello ties with all of this, depending on how things go, is still a if not upper echelon, a very, very solid basketball facility. And I think it's still probably upper echelon, even though it's about 15 years old right now. It's still a very nice practice building. So it's an attractive job, or should be an attractive job based on all of that. But then there are, like, if I am a guy like Josh Schertz, like, here are the questions I'm asking. Like, what's our NIL situation? What's the budget? Like, where's the money coming from? How much money do I got to spend on a roster? Where's the support? Is it going to be there? That's question one. And that's question one, even despite these questions after it. Question two is, who's my boss? If he's talking to John Wildhack, like, you know the answer is not him. Like, he'd be your boss for a few months, but you know he's not the guy that's really going to be overseeing things when you're in charge. Who's my boss? What's the direct? And then with the chancellor changing, who's my boss? What is the direction of the university in regards to athletics? Because you want to know that there is support from your immediate supervisor, but you also want to know that the institution finds what you are doing valuable. So those are three extremely significant questions to ask if you're a Josh Schertz, if you're anybody in that position. On the court, I get it, St. Louis, they're scoring 91 points a game. Like, is that a good time for anybody? You talk about modern basketball. St. Louis is averaging 11 and a half made threes a game. Like, this is the modern, spread them out, play fast, get it up kind of game. Robbie Avila is still in. Robbie Avila's on this St. Louis team? Who knew? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's still there. I had no idea. He's leading a slew in scoring this year with nearly 13 points a game. I had no idea he was still in school. I thought he must be at least 30 by now. But I look at the St. Louis roster. They have 4 players on the roster that have made at least 35 threes, another that's made 24, and 2 more that are in double figures. They have 4 players on their roster, including Larry Nerd, that are shooting north of 40% from 3. As a team, and we watched, how many threes in a row did Syracuse miss at one point last night? It was north of 10. As a team, St. Louis this year is shooting better than 40% from 3. So this is the ball's moving around, threes coming from everywhere. This is the kind of offense that you can expect from a guy like Josh Schertz coming in. And reasonably similarly, when we talked about Brian Hodgson a week ago, kind of the same deal. So it will be fascinating to see how something like this goes. But I could definitely see, like I talk about guys, if you are Syracuse, that 100% you need to talk to. We've done 5 editions of this. Who's next? I think you absolutely need to talk to 4 of them, and it's not Rick Pitino because, remember, we ruled that out on Monday. You got to call Jerry. I know some of you don't like that. You got to call Jerry. Matt Langle's right there. Give him a call. Just see what's up. I think you got to call Josh Schertz, and I think you got to call Brian Hodgson, who are 2 of the hotter, mid-major rising coaches, younger-ish guys. Schirtz is 50, young enough, guys in the country. Those are 4 guys that I think you absolutely have to at least explore. I don't know if there's more than 4 that you absolutely have to explore. Hodgson beat Wichita State last night. Did they win that game, Tuna? Happy 1 week past your birthday to Big Tuna. There's plenty of other guys in the mix. Obviously, like other guys. I'm not saying the head coach will be one of those 4 guys. There's plenty of other deserving and interesting candidates that we will explore here going forward. But I think if you're going to make a list of people that absolutely have to be at least called, talked to, and considered on some level, it's Jerry, it's Langle, it's Hodgson, and it's Schirtz. And then there's plenty of other good coaches out there that, you certainly give a look and a thought and whatever that could be good ideas, bad ideas. It would be very interesting about it. But those are the 4 I got that are like, all right, this is the start of the list, and then we move from there. Yeah, Brian Hodgson is clearly putting his name out there. He's got a connection to the Lowleys. Jeff Goodman's tweeting about him. Like, it's out there. That's out there. Like, Brian Hodgson is, out of all the people on this list, like, well, I don't want to say that. Like, Brian Hodgson, out of all the, I mean, setting Jerry aside, right? Like, I'm certain Brian Hodgson would be interested in the job. Like, if you told me Josh Schertz would find, like, I think if there was multiple job offers out there this year for whatever reason, I feel most confident that Hodgson would pick Syracuse as his major job offer over other schools. With a guy like Schirtz or other guys in the mix, I don't feel, I mean, I don't know. Like, there's no information about that either way, one way or another. So there we are. A little who's next today as we explore the life and times of one Josh Schertz, the current head coach of 23-1 St. Louis, who, at least right now at this second, I think is going to be the hottest mid-major coaching candidate of this coaching style. Like, I think that would be the case. I cannot put anybody above him as far as, now there may be better coaches, there may not, I'm not saying he's guaranteed and all that, but as far as hottest coaching candidate of this job cycle, mid-major, stepping up to a major level, Josh Schertz is the guy. And there we are, a little who's next here on this Thursday.